Our next speaker is Dr. Jude Currivan. And I just wanted to say a few things about her, but primarily, what a wonderful person Jude is. Not to say that the rest of us aren't, but whenever Jude is here and with us, there is a warmth in her very being that I think is so beautifully communicated. She is going to be focusing with us on the cosmic hologram and the cosmology of consciousness and the evolutionary universe. Dr. Jude Currivan is a cosmologist, planetary healer, futurist, author, and co-founder of WholeWorld-View. She was previously one of the most senior businesswomen in the United Kingdom as a chief financial officer and executive board member of two major international companies. She has a master's degree in physics from Oxford University, specializing in quantum physics and cosmology, and a doctorate in archaeology from the University of Reading, researching ancient cosmologies. She has traveled to more than 80 countries, worked with wisdom keepers from many traditions, and of course, she herself is a wisdom keeper, and being a lifelong researcher into the scientific and experiential understanding of the nature of reality. She's an author of 6 books, latterly the international best-selling and award-winning The Cosmic Hologram. And her next book is Gaia, Her Story. And that will be published this very year in 2022. She's also a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. With this kind of background, I think that you will get a sense, and you will see just now with Jude, that the embodiment, and this is exactly where we get to have somebody who is truly also a guardian of this ineffable flame. Passing it over to you, Jude. Thank you so much for being with us.
Alexander, thank you so much. Oh, what a joy it is to be with everyone. And I don't know where to start, because I was guided not to prepare anything for today. And the reason I'm sensing that is that I've loved the deliciousness of Anne and David and Pavel's wisdom and insights. And all of us together are forming, as we come together in this gathering, a group consciousness. And I can sense and feel the coherence as this field of loving intention, this joyous truth surrounds us in its nurturing wisdom, because this is what this time, it seems to me, and what, you know, some of us in the Evolutionary Leaders community are calling our moment of choice. And of course, as Anne has really guided us through, you know, there've been many moments of choice as to how we perceive our world, going back to those Paleolithic times and up till this moment. But I'd like to sort of share perhaps why I feel that this moment of choice, with all our challenges, as David so clearly laid them out, is full of promise, is full of potential evolutionary possibilities. And so I go back to what Pavel sort of asked us: what is the cause of our current crisis? And for me, it's our perception of the nature of reality itself at the most fundamental level. And over the last centuries, and Anne talked us through this a little bit, we've come to disenchant, and I heard Irving speak of this many years ago, we've come to disenchant our universe, which is innately enchanted. And in disenchanting our perception and therefore our experience of the world, we have fallen into its illusion of separation. And that illusion of separation, I feel, is our collective dis-ease, because as a result, we've separated, we've dismembered our collective psyche and our personal psyches in many ways from ourselves, each other, our planetary home, the entire cosmos. But what I feel is it's rather like those superhero stories that were in the cinemas when I was a kid. You know, at the 11th hour, the heroine suddenly escapes from what appears to be an impossible situation. And I really, truly feel that we now are on the threshold of such an incredible leap of evolutionary potential. And the reason I'm saying that is when I was 4 years old, I started to have those sort of visionary experiences that Anne spoke so movingly of, that is part of our heritage. Ultimately, they're who we really are. But in my own life, I started to experience such numinosity, such visionary experience when I was very young, and began to be able to communicate with archetypal consciousness, other intelligences, multidimensional intelligences. And that, again, with my work and joyful communication with many indigenous communities around the world, have sort of led me on a path of curiosity ever since. So for me, I experience reality as Anne, Pavel, David have spoken to so movingly all my life. But I've also seen how our mainstream worldview, which is essentially based on a prevailing scientific paradigm of materialist separatism, has really taken over all of our personal and collective ways of being. But also what I'm so excited about is that mainstream paradigm of a universe that is essentially devoid of meaning and inherent purpose, where somehow random occurrences evolve from simplicity to complexity, and somehow at the end of a very long process, consciousness, immaterial consciousness, somehow arises from the material brain. That paradigm is on the verge of destruction. I can say no more, and I say that with joy and love rather than judgment, because what we're finding now, the scientific breakthroughs of recent years, and literally already happening now, are revealing an utterly, radically different and expanded view of the nature of reality itself. And these scientific discoveries that many researchers across many fields of study and across all scales of existence are uncovering have an underpinning and a framing that is a universe that exists and evolves as a unified and multi-dimensional entity. A great thought, as the eminent Edwardian philosopher Sir James Jeans talked about. He said, our universe is more a great thought than a great thing. It's a universe that, as Einstein would have recognized, is a great creation of cosmic mind. As Max Planck and David Bohm and many other pioneers have also understood, spiritual seekers for millennia have experienced, indigenous wisdom teachings also absolutely fundamentally base their lives and beings on it, is a world of unity, where its unity is expressed in radical, abundant diversity. And this new emergent paradigm, this whole world view, naturally reconciles with all the experiences, all the understanding that our other speakers are addressing. It's science, it's leading edge science that converges with spirituality, with spiritual based traditions and indigenous teachings. And as Anne pointed out, universal wisdom teachings that go back thousands upon thousands of years. And this convergence, I believe, is a game changer, because it not only is a conversion into a holistic, unity-based cosmology set within a wider divine eternity and infinity of the cosmos. But for me, crucially, it's based on evidence, because so many people that I've spoken with over many years have said, well, this is all lovely, but where's the evidence? And the evidence is now being revealed from evolutionary biology, through meteorology, chemistry, social systems, all the way up from literary atoms to the whole of our universe and its cosmology. And other cosmologists that I'm in communication with are realizing that to understand the universe at the deeper levels than they wish to, they have to take a great leap into a recognition that mind and sentience and consciousness isn't just primary to the nature of reality. It is the nature of reality. So I'd like to speak very briefly about this and the four, the underpinnings that I think this gives us that can inspire and empower us into all of the transformations which we hope to serve to bring into the world, and how we can behave differently, because our worldviews drive our behaviors. So if we buy into a worldview of materialist separation, the sort of behaviors that David spoke to, that Pavel spoke to, are natural outcomes. A world of separation drives a world of suffering, of conflicts, of inequities, of ecological destruction. And yet a whole worldview of unity and diversity guides us naturally into behaviors where love is the choice we make rather than fear, where interdependence and interbeing are our realized realities, and where truth and wisdom naturally prevail because they too are in this glorious trinity with love as an underpinning to our lives. So what this emergent paradigm, what its underpinnings are showing, is that the appearance of our universe, its energy, matter, its space-time, arise from deeper levels of non-physical causation as digitized and vitally meaningful information that is pixelated at the tiniest, most minute scales of existence, and that its informed and non-locally unified reality is holographically manifest. Someone mentioned holons earlier, where its unity, its unified wholeness, is then represented, expressed in dynamic relationships at all scales of existence, in its holons, its many, many, many parts that are nested from their fundamental simplicities to their complexities, and a universe that actually exists to evolve. And I want to come back to this because this is this evolutionary moment, as Pavel was speaking of, in terms of breakdown and potential breakthrough, this evolutionary moment that we're in. I don't have time today to go into all the evidence for this, but as Alexander kindly mentioned, the WholeWorld-View.org website shows this science in its wholeness, as my book's doing, as many, many other researchers are now doing. And to add that at its most fundamental level, it's showing that mind, sentience, and consciousness aren't something we have, but literally what we and the whole world are. To go back, our universe meaningfully and purposefully exists to evolve. It started 13.8 billion years ago in its simplest form, exquisitely simple, incredibly ordered, and beautifully, wonderfully fine-tuned, literally a baby universe that was there with all it needed to then evolve ever since, from simplicity to ever greater levels of complexity, of individuated self-awareness, of a recognition ultimately as part of a natural evolutionary arc of interdependence, and ultimately in our perception of consciousness as interbeing. And on a global scale, our planetary home Gaia embodies that evolutionary impulse, and where her planetary emergence is embodied in such collaborative and synergistic and co-evolutionary relationships. And where now, it seems to me that our conscious evolution as a human species may be realized as an integral part of our planet's whole evolutionary progress and emergence. So this emergent cosmology of a conscious and evolutionary universe where it is non-locally unified naturally embodies an understanding of multidimensionality, as some of us have already been saying. a multidimensionality where we have not only access to, but innately attributed to our own and with our own consciousness as part of that collective planetary and universal consciousness, can engage and communicate with other realms of intelligence. Anne spoke about Jung and your own experiences. Those two are my experiences, communicating with devic and elemental realms, communicating with archetypal realms of intelligence, where visionary experiences are a natural part of our own innate humanity. And so with multidimensional awareness and communications, also in this emerging paradigm, serendipities, synchronicities are natural. They can be our way showers. And they don't refute the laws of physics, because the laws of physics and this new paradigm can embody and naturalize synchronicities without violating the innate causality within space-time. They enhance it. They literally enjoy it as way showers for our own experiences. We all have a superpower. It's called our intuition. Again, it's accessing that resonant, coherent connectivity with the whole of our universe's life-affirming and evolutionary arc. And other phenomena that are non-local in their attributes, such as telepathy, precognition, remote viewing, are all natural attributes of a universal consciousness, of which we are microcosmic co-creators. And one important point that I'd love us to return to, because I do feel that this is of vital importance, is what this new paradigm and its experiential understanding is bringing forward, is a realization of the empowerment of group consciousness. As we wake up to our own personalized perspective of unity in diversity and our own attributes of non-local connectivity, we can also link up and lift up coherently to bring forward these changes, these transformational changes that could be part of our future, our evolutionary future. And again, there is powerful evidence through my friend Lynn McTaggart's work on the power of 8, to authors such as Barry Spivak and Caroline Saunders, on the power of group consciousness to reduce violence. When we come together with a coherent intention that opens ourselves to the love, the inherent love of the cosmos, we can enable that love to flow through us, to go where it may, to serve the healing, the nurturing, the remembering of who we really are. And what this is doing is it's also inviting us in that remembering that we're not only human beings, not even spiritual beings having a human experience, but that we are part of our planetary home, Gaia, and her evolutionary arc. We literally are Gaians. And Alexander very kindly introduced my forthcoming book as Gaia, Her Story. And that was the title that I was given over a decade ago to serve this time of change. But actually the title's now been changed itself to The Story of Gaia, because I realized that her story and his story is now a them story and an our story. So it is the story of Gaia coming out in the next few months. And I'd like to finish by paraphrasing Teilhard de Chardin, because what is coming forward is a science of love. And 100 years ago, to paraphrase him, someday we shall harness the energies of love. And then for a second time in the history of the world, humanity will have discovered fire. That someday is here and now. As we wake up to the radical reality of the unitive narrative of this new story of the cosmos, Gaia, and us, we will also discover as a species, and perhaps for the first time, who we really are, and who we truly are, and who we can evolve to become. Thank you. Thank you, Georgie.
Oh, so wonderful. I can listen to you forever. And you really are amazing storyteller. You told us where we are now. You told what the purpose of the universe is. It exists to evolve. Where we're heading, what could be the options. Thank you so much. More from you at the question and answers. Thank you,
Georgie. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.